Africans need to be liberated from modern infrastructure, such as highways and railways. Well, this was the key message proclaimed to the world by one of the ANC's most tenured politicians at an international conference on decolonization this week, where he presented the existence of modern infrastructure in South Africa and on the African continent in general as an inherited economic structure that needs to be radically transformed in the name of decolonization. This week, the Turkish capital of Istanbul, formerly of course the Byzantine Empire center of Constantinople, plays host to the World Decolonization Forum, an international conference platform focused on decolonization in politics, economics, culture, and academia. One of the keynote speakers at this event was the man who served as Minister of Economic Development under Jacob Zuma, as well as Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition under Cyril Ramaphosa, Ebrahim Patel. In his speech at this week's forum, Patel specifically pointed to the railway infrastructure built in Africa by people of European descent who settled on the continent as a, and I quote, colonial economic structure in need of transformation. Because in his words, the purpose of the colonial infrastructure is to serve the empire. Stay tuned, because in today's video we are going to highlight what exactly these statements by Ebrahim Patel reveal about the ANC's destructive approach to governance and why we see such decay in the infrastructure that had been built up by the previous government. You see, Ebrahim Patel is one of the most experienced and senior ANC politicians in the country, having served as a minister in 3 different cabinets for over 15 years. Born and raised in Cape Town, Patel is also a founding member of the trade union COSATU. As a young activist in the 1980s, Patel worked with emerging independent black trade unions that were closely tied to anti-apartheid civic and labor struggles. He became a prominent leader in the South African Clothing and Textile Workers Union. He served as its Secretary General when, in 1985, it merged dozens of anti-apartheid trade unions into a single national labor movement, which henceforth became known as COSATU and stood with the ANC in the so-called tripartite alliance governing South Africa since 1994. In 2009, he eventually entered government under Jacob Zuma as Minister of Economic Development, later serving in trade and in industry portfolios first under Zuma and then of course now under Cyril Ramaphosa. His entire tenure was marked by prolonged economic stagnation, massive declining industrial competitiveness, rising bureaucracy and localization costs, which of course caused weak employment growth and the general deterioration of South Africa's economy. Yet, despite his miserable track record in office, the World Decolonization Forum has invited him to speak on the topic of beyond dependency, rethinking development from the global south. In his speech, Patel highlighted how he has dedicated his entire political career as an ANC cabinet minister to what he calls transforming what he describes as the colonial structure of the South African economy. His speech criticized how the South African economy under apartheid was orientated towards European and Western markets, with which it traded far more than with its African counterparts to the north. South Africa, he claims, like many other African countries, was separated from one another and functioned primarily as suppliers of raw materials to production centers located on other continents. Patel then specifically pointed to Africa's railway infrastructure, noting that many rail lines run from mining regions directly to export ports, reflecting an infrastructure system designed to serve imperial interests by supplying these raw materials to Europe and North America through the port system. He consequently highlighted that the key challenge Africa faces today is to transform this inherited colonial economic infrastructure. And when it comes to transformation, in the example he specifically chose to highlight in his speech, the railways, it must be said that the ANC has largely succeeded in destroying these railways. South Africa, after all, used to have one of the most developed and most impressive railway systems on the planet. In 1991, just prior to the ANC takeover, annual rail freight in South Africa amounted to around 174 million tons. Just over a decade later, however, in 2002, it was reported that the amount of rail freight in this country has been reduced by 25% already. And since that time, the absolute collapse has just been further accelerated, with rail volumes declining particularly sharply since 2010. According to figures from 2023, Transnet's local freight is still under 150 million tons per year, which is an astonishing 700,000 tons less every single day than it had been in the early 90s. South Africa's railway systems has indeed been transformed in the spirit of the ANC's anti-colonialism, but it has come at the cost of every hard-working citizen in this country. In fact, according to a recent study by Mr. Dion Venter from Agbiz, it is estimated that the damage that heavy freight trucks do to South African roads amounts to around 67 billion rands, or just around 4.5 billion per year, of which around 30% are cross-subsidized by taxes. This means that on top of the increasing costs to the transport companies themselves as a result of our railways being destroyed, the road freight overloads in this country also cost us, the South African taxpayer, an additional 25 billion rands, or $1.5 billion every single year. The ironies in Patel's speech at the World Decolonization Forum this week can barely be overstated. In the first place, the great irony apparently escaping the entire forum is that the modern city of Istanbul itself is the fruit of an imperial conquest, which led to the fall of Constantinople in 1453 when the Ottoman Empire conquered the Byzantine capital. The Ottoman Empire was itself a major expanding imperialist power that conquered, ruled, exploited and dominated numerous native peoples across the Balkans, Anatolia, the Arab world and of course North Africa for many centuries. The forum supposedly critiques colonial infrastructure, extraction and imperial dominance, even while the host city of Istanbul is the ultimate manifestation of all of this, and the Hagia Sophia turned into a mosque is the ultimate symbol of such imperial dominance. Secondly, of course, Patel's claim that colonial railways harm the African economy is directly refuted by the example of Taiwan. In a recent study released by the London School of Economics, it was found that although Taiwan's railways were originally built for imperial extraction like Patel described here, moving sugar and rice efficiently to Japanese markets, they nevertheless produced substantial long-term gains for local Taiwanese farmers and regional economic development. The study concludes that Japanese colonial infrastructure designed for extraction ended up fueling the local prosperity, with rail connectivity increasing agricultural outcomes and integrating local markets to the global economy. Third, by criticizing the creation of railway systems as something Africans need to be liberated from, Patel implies a return to an Africa without colonial infrastructure such as railways, which he knows very well is an Africa without any infrastructure at all. At least the European colonists and the white South African and Rhodesian governments built railways, but instead of expanding these railway systems, parties such as those Patel proudly represents have allowed them to deteriorate to the point where thousands of kilometers of railway track now lie abandoned in this country, vandalized and completely unusable. This destruction of infrastructure is directly attributed to Patel's own ANC and of course its sister parties across the African continent and other countries. Finally, Patel's claim that infrastructure built by the Afrikaner and other European descended peoples exclusively served imperial interests is simply dead wrong when it comes to the actual facts of history. You see, during the second half of the 20th century under the National Party, South Africa, through government enterprises such as ASCOR and Sasol, processed more than half its minerals locally, exporting finished products such as steel, petroleum, and refined goods under apartheid state-driven manufacturing. It is precisely under Patel's own ANC that our manufacturing deteriorated to such an extent that we are now forced to export all of our raw materials for manufacturing abroad because we cannot do it ourselves anymore as it was done under previous governments. We highlighted this exact fact in a recent video, which you can check out by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right here if you want to see further elaboration on this particular topic. And if you like our content, please do consider supporting us in the noble cause by becoming a paying member of the Willem Petzer Group. Only with your investment are we able to continue making well-researched videos such as these every single day. Simply follow the easy steps on the banner below me. Goodbye and God bless.